Republican governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, won re-election by a whopping 19 points.
We not only won election, we have rewritten the political map.
But wait a second. Isn't Florida supposed to be a purple state? The election results have a lot of people wondering, especially because of the way Florida contrasts the rest of the nation where there wasn't a red wave. So is Florida a red state now? Or are there other factors like gerrymandering at play here? The answer is yes. You see, both those statements can be true at the same time. Let's start with whether Florida is a red state. Many people associate Florida with razor-thin election margins, and for good reason. Its past 3 races for governor were decided by 1 percentage point or less, and the state became infamous in the 2000 presidential election for deciding the race by just 537 votes. But a lot has changed since then. Republicans in Florida have been growing in strength and number for some time. Floridians registered as Republicans now outnumber those registered as Democrats for the first time in state history. And after the 2022 election, there won't be a single Democrat holding statewide elected office for the first time since the 1800s. Add that on top of the enormous re-election margins for DeSantis and U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, and this state is really starting to look like a red one. Those results for DeSantis and Rubio are important too, because the elections are statewide. That means they're not affected by things like the way redistricting maps are drawn. DeSantis' 19-point victory is based solely on the raw vote totals from the entire state. Now let's talk about the maps. DeSantis' own office redrew Florida's congressional maps in a way that would give Republicans bigger advantages than they would have had otherwise. A congressional seat in North Florida, for example, originally drawn to group black voters together so they could elect a member of Congress of their choosing, was dismantled. The representative who holds that seat, Lawson, a Democrat, lost his re-election to a Republican on Tuesday. There are other examples in other parts of the state. This means the maps have added to Republicans' gains and given them a leg up to win certain seats. The maps are being challenged in court and the case is still ongoing. But if they remain in place, they will be one way that Republicans can continue Florida's trajectory, becoming a redder state. The last big reason the results on Tuesday featured such big Republican wins was turnout. Democrats did not show up to the polls at nearly the same rate as Republicans, and there's reason to believe that many of the state's independent voters also voted for DeSantis for governor. One reason Democrats probably weren't able to rally their voters to the same extent was campaign money. In many cases, Democrats severely lacked the same level of campaign fundraising that Republicans had, this cycle in particular. And these problems for Florida Democrats compound on each other. After such big losses, they may have trouble convincing donors that their state and their cause is the best use of their money, compared to places where the margins were thinner. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to Florida's election results. For more detailed analysis, visit the Tampa Bay Times website at tampabay.com.